This video is about famous Hollywood celebrities and people who passed away from 11th to 15th of January 2021 in the United States. Before we proceed, please subscribe to our channel to support us. Peter Mark Richmond. He was born in April 1927 and he died in January 2021. His age was 93 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Peter Mark Richmond was an American actor known for his prolific career on television and in film. He starred in the series of Chains, 100 and The Long Street and was a familiar face to viewers for decades. Richmond was a respected and versatile performer. Stacy Title. She was born in February 1964 and she died in January 2021. Her age was 56 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was ALS. Stacy Title was an American film director known for her work in independent cinema and horror films. She directed the black comedy The Last Supper and the horror film The Bye-Bye Man. Title was a respected filmmaker. Margo St James. She was born in September 1937 and she died in January 2021. Her age was 83 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was Alzheimer's disease. Margo St James was an American sex worker and advocate for sex workers' rights. She was the founder of the Coyote, Call Off Your Old Tired Ethics, an organization that advocated for the decriminalization of sex workers. St. James was a courageous and influential figure in the sex worker rights movement. Howard Johnson. He was born in August 1941 and he died in January 2021. His age was 79 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Howard Johnson was an American jazz tuba player, a master of his instrument. He was a respected and an influential figure in the world of jazz and was known for his innovative playing style. Johnson was a dedicated and talented musician. Tim Bogert. He was born in August 1944 and he died in January 2021. His age was 76 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was cancer. Tim Bogert was an American musician, a legendary bassist for his work in the bands Vanilla Fudge, Cactus, and the supergroup Beck, Bogert and Nappies. He was a respected and influential figure in the world of rock music. Bogert was a dedicated and talented musician. Siegfried Fishbcker. He was born in June 1939 and he died in January 2021. His age was 81 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was pancreatic cancer. Siegfried Fishbcker was a German-American magician, one half of the legendary magic duo Siegfried and Roy. The duo was known for their elaborate stage shows featuring white tigers and other exotic animals. Siegfried was a respected and beloved entertainer. Larry Willoughby. He was born in February 1950 and he died in January 2021. His age was 74 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was COVID-19. Larry Willoughby was an American country music singer, songwriter, and the vice president of A&R at Capitol Records, a respected figure in the world of country music. He wrote songs for numerous artists, including Tammy Wynette. Willoughby was a dedicated and talented songwriter. Juby He. He was born in June 1951 and he died in January 2021. His age was 69 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was congestive heart failure. Juby He, born Edward Fletcher, was an American rapper and producer. He co-wrote and performed on the legendary hip-hop song The Message by Grandmaster Flash and Furious 5. Juby was a respected and influential figure in hip-hop history. Sylvain. He was born in February 1951 and he died in January 2021. His age was 69 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was cancer. Sylvain, born Sylvain, Missouri, was an American musician, the guitarist for the influential glam rock band the New York Dolls. He was a respected and influential figure in the New York rock scene. Sylvain was a dedicated and talented musician. Dale Bear, he was born in June 1950 and he died in January 2021. His age was 70 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death were complications from ALS. Dale Bear was an American animator known for his work on numerous Disney and other animated films. He animated characters in The Lion King, The Little Mermaid, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Bear was a respected and influential figure in the world of animation. A.G. Hashimoto, he was born in August 1931 and he died in January 2021. His age was 89 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. A.G. Hashimoto was a Japanese-American pianist and professor at the University of Cincinnati. He was a respected and influential figure in the world of classical music. Hashimoto was a dedicated and talented musician and educator. Joanne Rogers, she was born in March 1928 and she died in January 2021. Her age was 92 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was undisclosed. Joanne Rogers was an American author and musician, the widow of television personality Fred Rogers. She was a dedicated advocate for her late husband's legacy and a respected figure in her own right. Rogers was a talented pianist and a kind person. Sir Robert Kohhan, he was born in March 1925 and he died in January 2021. His age was 95 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Sir Robert Kohhan was an American-British choreographer, a respected and influential figure in contemporary dance. He was the founder of the Place and the London Contemporary Dance Theatre. Kohhan was a dedicated artist and a leader in his field. Frank J. Koba, he was born in July 1937 and he died in January 2021. His age was 83 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Frank J. Koba was an American historian, a professor at St. John's University. He was a leading expert on Italian history and was a respected and influential scholar in his field. Koba's work had a significant impact on his field. William E. Thornton, he was born in April 1929 and he died in January 2021. His age was 91 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. William E. Thornton was an American astronaut who flew on 2 space shuttle missions. He was a respected and influential figure in space exploration. Thornton was a dedicated and talented astronaut. Brian Monroe, he was born in August 1965 and he died in January 2021. His age was 55 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was heart attack. Brian Monroe was an American journalist and editor, a respected and influential figure in the world of journalism. He was the 16th president of the National Association of Black Journalists from 2005 to 2007. Monroe was a dedicated and talented leader. Lei Tu, she was born in July 1943 and she died in January 2021. Her age was 77 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was COVID-19. Lei Tu was a Vietnamese-American singer, a respected and beloved figure in Vietnamese music. She was a legend of Vietnamese popular music. Lei Tu was influential to many. She released 24 singles and numerous albums with famous overseas Vietnamese singers. Kathleen Crow, she was born in July 1952 and she died in January 2021. Her age was 68 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was cancer. Kathleen Crow was an American children's author, known for her numerous books for young readers. She was a respected and beloved figure in children's literature. Crow's books were influential to many. Lionel Gossman, he was born in May 1929 and he died in January 2021. His age was 91 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Lionel Gossman was a Scottish-American historian and professor at Princeton University. He was a leading expert on French history and was a respected and influential scholar in his field. Gossman's work had a significant impact on his field. Lisa Marie Montgomery. She was born in March 1968 and she died in January 2021. Her age was 52 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was execution by lethal injection. Lisa Marie Montgomery was an American convicted murderer who was executed for the 2004 murder of a pregnant woman. Her case was a long and complex legal battle. Montgomery was a figure in the criminal justice system. Apprentice E Sanders. He was born in October 1937 and he died in January 2021. His age was 83 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Apprentice E Sanders was an American police officer who served as the chief of police for the San Francisco Police Department. He became the first African-American chief of the department in 2002. He was a respected and influential figure in law enforcement. Sanders was a dedicated public servant. Tatsuo Najitta. He was born in March 1936 and he died in January 2021. His age was 85 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Tatsuo Najitta was an American historian and a professor at the University of Chicago. He was a leading expert on Japanese history and was a respected and influential scholar in his field. Najitta's work had a significant impact on his field. Gerald Wigard. He was born in July 1944 and he died in January 2021. His age was 76 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Gerald Wigard was an American automotive designer, the founder of Vector Motors. He was known for his futuristic and high-performance supercars. Wigard was a respected and influential figure in the automotive industry. Paul Taylor. He was born in November 1939 and he died in January 2021. His age was 81 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Paul Taylor was an American engineer, a pioneer in the development of telecommunications devices for the deaf. He also enjoyed a kind of celebrity status because of his central role in the award-winning documentary Here and Now. William R. Allen. He was born in April 1924 and he died in January 2021. His age was 96 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. William R. Allen was an American economist, professor, and author. He was known for his authorship of economic literature alongside frequent co-author Arman Alkian. He was a nationally syndicated radio commentator and a newspaper columnist, a Los Angeles television commentator, and an occasional magazine essayist. Ronald J Hayes. He was born in August 1928 and he died in January 2021. His age was 92 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Ronald J Hayes was a United States Navy 4-star admiral who served as Vice Chief of Naval Operations from 1983 to 1985 and as Commander-in-Chief, United States Pacific Command from 1985 to 1988. Hayes was a chairman of the board of the development of the Pacific Aviation Museum in the historic Pearl Harbor. Thomas V. Miller Jr. He was born in December 1942 and he died in January 2021. His age was 78 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was pancreatic cancer. Thomas V. Miller Jr. was an American politician who served as a Maryland state senator. He was a respected and influential figure in Maryland politics. He was the longest-serving president of the Maryland Senate and was, for a period, the longest-serving state Senate president in the United States. Christopher P. Monkhouse. He was born in October 1947 and he died in January 2021. His age was 73 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was stroke. Christopher P. Monkhouse was an American architectural historian, a scholar of the decorative arts, and a curator known for his work at Minneapolis Institute of Art. He was a respected and influential figure in the art world. Monkhouse was a dedicated and talented curator. J. Michael Schrader. He was born in May 1949 and he died in January 2021. His age was 71 at the time of his death and the reason for his death was undisclosed. J. Michael Schrader was an American politician who served as a Democratic member, Pennsylvania State Senator. He was a long-time public servant in his state. Schrader was a respected figure in Pennsylvania politics. John Wesling. He was born in June 1942 and he died in January 2021. His age was 78 at the time of his death and the reason for his death was undisclosed. John Wesling was an American academic administrator who served as the president of Boston University. He was a respected and influential figure in higher education. Wesling's leadership guided the university. James White. He was born in October 1942 and he died in January 2021. His age was 78 at the time of his death and the reason for his death was undisclosed. James White was an American politician who served as a member of the New Mexico Senate for the 19th District. White had previously served in the New Mexico House of Representatives, representing District 20. Benjamin F. Gibson. He was born in July 1931 and he died in January 2021. His age was 89 at the time of his death and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Benjamin F. Gibson was a United States District Judge of the United States District Court for the Western District of Michigan. He served as Chief Judge from 1991 to 1995 and assumed senior status in July 1996. Gibson continued to serve in that capacity until his retirement from the bench on January 31, 1999. Sheldon Edson. He was born in August 1933 and he died in January 2021. His age was 87 at the time of his death and the reason for his death were complications from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Sheldon Edson was an American business executive and philanthropist, the chairman and CEO of Las Vegas Sands Corporation. He was a respected and influential figure in the casino and hotel industry. Edson was a prominent political donor and a generous philanthropist. Wilbur Brotherton. He was born in July 1922 and he died in January 2021. His age was 98 at the time of his death and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Wilbur Brotherton was an American politician who served as a Michigan state representative. He was a long-time public servant in his state. He also served in the United States Army Air Corps during the Second World War and was a navigator. Brotherton was a respected figure in Michigan politics. Fred Leven. He was born in March 1937 and he died in January 2021. His age was 83 at the time of his death and the reason for his death were complications from COVID-19. Fred Leven was an American lawyer, a prominent personal injury lawyer from Florida. He was a respected and influential figure in the legal community. Leven was a dedicated advocate for his clients. The Frederick G. Leven College of Law at the University of Florida is named for him because of a monetary donation he made to the school in 1999. Harold Lawrence McFet. He was born in March 1923 and he died in January 2021. His age was 97 at the time of his death and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Harold Lawrence McFet was an American physician and psychiatrist, a respected and influential figure in mental health policy. He was a dedicated advocate for mental health services. McFet's work had a significant impact on his field. Shirley Johnson. She was born in December 1937 and she died in January 2021. Her age was 83 at the time of her death and the reason for her death was undisclosed. Shirley Johnson was an American politician who served as a Michigan state representative. She was a longtime public servant in her state. Johnson was a respected figure in Michigan politics. Keith Valigura. He was born in November 1957 and he died in January 2021. His age was 63 at the time of his death and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Keith Valigura was an American politician who served as a Texas state representative. He was a respected public servant in his state. He served in the Texas House of Representatives from 16th District from 1985 to 1991. Edward Beard, he was born in January 1940 and he died in January 2021. His age was 80 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Edward Beard was an American businessman and politician from Rhode Island. He was a long-time public servant in his state. Beard was a respected figure in national politics. Bruce Hadley, he was born in February 1934 and he died in January 2021. His age was 86 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Bruce Hadley was a thoroughbred horse trainer and owner. Hadley's greatest success on date came with the champion sprint horse Kona Gold, a winner of multiple stakes races, including the 2000 Breeds Cup Sprint. John LaRose, he was born in October 1951 and he died in January 2021. His age was 69 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was COVID-19. John LaRose was an American professional baseball player, a pitcher who played for the Boston Red Sox in Major League Baseball. He had a brief career in the big leagues in the 1970s. LaRose was a part of baseball history. Bruce Bennett, he was born in December 1943 and he died in January 2021. His age was 77 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was pneumonia and COVID-19. Bruce Bennett was an American college and professional football player who was a safety in the Canadian Football League for 7 seasons during the 1960s and early 1970s. He played college football for the University of Florida and was recognized as an All-American. Thereafter, Bennett played professionally for the Saskatchewan Roughriders of the CFL. Carlos Joseph, he was born in July 1980 and he died in January 2021. His age was 40 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was brain aneurysm. Carlos Joseph was an American professional football player who was an offensive tackle. He played college football for the Miami Hurricanes. He was selected by the San Diego Chargers for the National Football League in the 7th round of the 2004 NFL Draft. Tim Lester, he was born in June 1968 and he died in January 2021. His age was 52 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death were complications of COVID-19. Tim Lester was an American professional football player, a running back who played for the Los Angeles Rams and Pittsburgh Steelers in the NFL. He was a respected player and a part of the NFL history. Lester was a talented athlete. Howard Andrew, he was born in June 1934 and he died in January 2021. His age was 86 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Howard Andrew was an American poker player, best known for his success at the 1976 World Series of Poker. He participated in the WSOP main event each year from 1974 until his death, the longest such streak of any player. Ben Hines, he was born in November 1935 and he died in January 2021. His age was 85 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Ben Hines was an American professional baseball coach who had a long career as a college and professional baseball coach. He was a respected and influential figure in the sport. Hines was a dedicated mentor and coach. Ron Sanford, he was born in February 1930 and he died in January 2021. His age was 90 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Ron Sanford was an American professional baseball player, a shortstop who played for the Detroit Tigers and other teams in Major League Baseball. He had a brief career in the big leagues in the late 1950s. Sanford was a part of baseball history. Tyrone Crowley, he was born in November 1958 and he died in January 2021. His age was 62 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Tyrone Crowley was an American professional boxer, a lightweight boxer from Philadelphia. He was a respected figure in the world of boxing. Crowley was a talented athlete. Thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Have a nice day.